So A16z has released their inaugural State of Crypto report, which includes cyclical information on the current market downturn and says that the Ethereum blockchain remains the most dominant one. So the report built on a blog post that was released last year called the Crypto Price Innovation Cycle. Now the cycle works like this. They say strong digital asset prices draw talent to the space. Developers innovate during the bear market, and once winter is over, the projects and startups have been building. The projects that the startups have been building drive optimism. Another report. I'm not going to toss it down to Will. I'm going to toss it to you, Zach. What did you think of A16z's inaugural State of Crypto report? We've been talking about this coming up for a while. Here it is. Were there any surprises in there for you?
Not a ton of surprises, but lots of interesting little nuggets, right? I mean, they have a bajillion dollars. I'm not even joking when I say a bajillion. They have multiple $billion crypto funds. It's become a very big part of their business. So for them to be out here during these choppy seas, I think, last week we saw a lot of teams, issuing blog posts to their, to their teams saying, soldier on, we're going to get through this. It's middle season. And I think we're seeing that in a big way from A16z, which remains one of the biggest investors in the space. So, the overwhelming conclusion here is we're still early, right? They kind of looked at internet adoption trends and sort of try to map those trends on the current trajectory of where we are. And they say that, hey, as it relates to what the internet was, crypto is in 1995 still, and we still have time to make this thing work at a mass scale. I think they offered a little nugget by 2031. They project that the crypto ecosystem would reach 1 billion users. So, and that's a far way off from the 7 million to 50 million that they estimate using Ethereum right now. So it was interesting, I think, those little data points. But the overall sentiment here, not surprising at all. This is an investment firm with big bags, investments across the ecosystem, and for them to pipe up with some reportage on how it shouldn't all be doom and gloom in a moment of market doom and gloom feels very par for the course for someone who's deeply invested in this thing. But I'll toss it to Will.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense, right? Like they have huge bags in this ecosystem, and so they're going to try to prop up those bags. Interesting. Let's go to a media corner for a second. I think this is one of Zach's and mine's favorite things to talk about. It's just like media plays within crypto and writ large. And it's really interesting. A16z has built its own little media corner. They hired a former reporter at Fortune to run as editor-in-chief, and now they're putting out the State of Crypto. It's wild to see that, and that's kind of the time to do it and to run out your media empire in a sense is actually when things are going bad, because you want to bring attention to what people are building, and especially if you have deep pockets and you could pay for people to be able to be writing about your projects, I think it gives some comfort to the founders who are working on all these things. Oftentimes during the bull market, you think that might be the best time to have a media project running, but that's not always the case because things just get shouted out by all the memes and the price charts. So that's one takeaway for me. Overall, though, the numbers you just read out there, Zach, pretty aggressive. 7 to 50 million people right now using Ethereum. That seems like a lot. Maybe that's the case, and I don't know if I could argue one way or the other. That seems kind of high to me. But 1 billion by 2031, that is definitely very, very aggressive. I'd be interested to get Wendy's or Jen's opinion on that number. Wendy?
First off, I always like to follow the money. So when you're talking about somebody with a lot of money, you want to know what they're invested in. Why are they invested in it, and why are they talking about it? I also think that every single large investor, I think having a media corner is a very, very smart idea, because essentially if you're going to be investing in different projects, why not highlight them? Why not educate the people that are interested in what you are investing in? I think that other TradFi people do that, so why not do it in crypto? I mean, obviously it could be potentially biased because it's someone who is invested in it, but at the same time, it's a great way to kind of educate everybody as to what you're investing in and why.
There's another little nugget I want to talk about. So the report compared payouts of Ethereum-based NFT creators with Web2 creators. So the report says primary sales plus royalties totaled $3.9 billion, while on the other hand, massive Web2 company Meta reserved about $1 billion for creators throughout 2022. And if we think about the number of Ethereum-based NFT creators and compare those to creators on Instagram and Facebook, those numbers are wild to me and just really exciting for people who have built a business on their craft, who have built a business on being influencers in Web 2. If they can translate that into Web 3 and be able to move along with innovation, I think there's a really fruitful future for people who create, which I think is awesome.
I know.
wanted to throw.
Sorry, really quick. I know that I know a lot of these Instagram creators with large followings, they are merging over to NFTs. And I know this is because they're reaching out to me on Instagram and saying, hey, Wendy, can you help me? Can you help me with this, whatever? Do you want to consult? And I'm like, okay. So I'm seeing this already happening with the Web2 creators.
I wanted to throw one last thing out there on the terminology front. I thought there was one interesting little quote in here. We think of Web3 as the term for the movement, whereas crypto is the underlying tech that makes it possible. That's one of the people in the report saying as much. And I think that's actually kind of an interesting framework, because I think we've seen sort of the confluence of Web3 as a term and crypto as a term. What do you guys think? Do you think Web3 is the movement and crypto is the tech, or is blockchain the tech? Is crypto just the same word as Web3? On the nomenclature side, Will, what's the word? What are you thinking?
I'm more of an open finance guy, so we should just throw back to the old terms. Get back to the basics.
Way back.
Way back.
And Will still uses a fax machine. I'm just kidding.
Yes. No, I mean, the nomenclature aside, like Web3 is like meme, so that's why it took off, obviously. And I think it's very encompassing, but crypto that term's not really going away. Maybe Web3 will die off as a term, though, because of all the stuff that's happened with like a bunch of scams. I'm interested to see if that plays out. Like the blockchain versus Bitcoin thing died off, and I think the blockchain part died off because of a lot of the ICO pump and dumps. Maybe that happens with Web3, but maybe it's sticky because NFTs are fun and people are enjoying all the games and shenanigans online.